Oh, wow, that was no transition at all. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the TheCivShow podcast. I'm your host, Moisauce.
Raising Zozo saying, did you have the audacity to start Audacity?
No, I didn't. Oh, crap. I didn't.
That's
I didn't even tell Foybles to do this. Shoot.
I am.
Let's just start over. Let's start over. We're still live, so hello everybody. But
Hello.
Foybles, do you by any chance have the program Audacity?
I believe I do.
Can you actually open it up and record yourself for this episode? I would appreciate that. This is the inside look of the TheCivShow, folks. Don't look.
How it works.
We're naked. Don't look.
Yeah. Inside look at a little planning we do.
Oh no. Oh no. We've been found.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we're good.
You're good? Okay, I'm recording.
we're good.
We're good? You're good, Zoe?
Go for
Yeah.
it. I'll send you the file.
Thank you. And I'll teach you how to do that, or I'll tell you how to do that afterwards. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the TheCivShow podcast. We suck, so you don't have to. I'm your host, Moisauce.
Raising Zozo.
Nystagmus.
And we have a very, very special guest with you. He was featured on Sunday's TheCivShow. He is the lovable, redheaded Frank, whatever the German leader's name is, doppelganger.
Frederick Barbarossa.
Oh, you just tripped over your own shoelaces there. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I've been just getting so much better with these intros.
I even named my character after him. It's Freddie Foybles.
Frederick.
Foybles.
See, I said Fred. I said
Germany.
Fred, right? I mean, I got that far, right?
No, he said Frank.
I said Frank. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Foybles, for joining us this week. We really appreciate it. It's been Foybles week, and this is his episode of the podcast. Foybles,
You have to.
go ahead.
I was gonna say you should remember just to read the teleprompter.
Oh,
just read the teleprompter.
Okay. Foybles,
Yeah.
tell us about yourself.
Okay. Where should I start? Well, I've been streaming for just about 2 years now. I'm actually coming up on 2 years in January.
Ooh.
And of course, because I play Civ 6 a lot, I've been, and I've joined the community, and there's a lot of great people out in the Civ 6 community, a lot of great creators, and very happy to be a part of this amazing group of people that you guys have brought together for the Civ Give later in the year, and I'm happy to be featured and happy to be here. So thanks for having me.
No problem.
Great having you.
We're the
you.
we're the ones that are honored here to have you just featured on the Civ Give.
We're
so.
not worthy. We're not worthy. We're scum. We suck.
So you don't have to.
There you go. There's the tagline. Had to plug it again.
Oh, you gotta plug it every time I get a chance. So when you started streaming, did you right away know that Civilization is going to be my main game?
No, not really. I got inspired by a few different creators out there, and I've been exposed to Civ before in the past, ever since I was a kid, and never thought that I would be putting 1,700 hours into the game, but I have now. And I had no idea where it was going to take me. Very happy that there's a very strong community behind Civilization, and there's some great people out there in the community that love to participate and learn off of each other and share ideas. And there's great creators out there that are very inclusive, very loving, and it's awesome to be a part of such a great community. So yeah, I had no idea where it was going to take me. I didn't know it was going to be my main game. It's what I started with. It's what I was inspired to do. I do play some other stuff on the side, but yeah, I had no idea it was going to take me here.
So what other games do you play? Like, just tell us
Well,
everything about your
besides-
stream. Like,
Yeah,
Everything.
everything.
Spare no
So-
detail, no matter how insignificant or minute.
So besides Civilization and other strategy games, I do play on the Xbox quite a bit. I enjoy co-op multiplayer with some of my friends. I have a group of guys that we play on the Xbox quite a bit and do different co-op multiplayer games. One of them is actually a friend of mine that I've personally known since preschool. and actually lives just down the road from me here. And
Still,
his cousin-in-law, so his cousin married Eric, who is Heath's family member now through marriage. And so it's the three of us that do usually a bunch of Xbox games. We did Battlefront 2 quite a bit, and we still do occasionally. We've really been into Sea of Thieves lately. And there's some other co-op games that we played, like Vermintide. We really liked Vermintide 1 and 2. That was a lot of fun. We've tried other games like Destiny. And so there's that little bit of my gaming experience there on Xbox. Besides the co-op stuff, I do like role-playing games. I love Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series. Those are a lot of fun.
Great series.
On the PC, I've played other strategy games. In fact, today, because it just released today, I downloaded Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and I'm probably going to give that a stream or two.
Right on.
And I actually never played the original AoE 3, so this will be me getting introduced to it. Plus, they've got some new content, so excited to see what they can do there. And it's got multiplayer support, so we'll have to maybe take a look at that, see what we can do in the community. So yeah, I love strategy games because it makes you think, makes you learn, and you know what they say: as long as you keep learning, you'll never get old. So it's a good thing I can learn still.
Even when you're ancient.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, ask Zoe. This guy's
Legend
old
like
as
me.
heck.
I'm actually impartial to Age of Empires 2 myself, because I played the original Age of Empires 3 when it came out. I still like 2 as the best in the series, but
I play a lot. I like when the pandemic started, me and my buddies played tons of Age of Empires 2.
Really?
Yeah, I played it quite a bit as a kid too. I had Age of Kings, and I also played the port into Star Wars, which was Galactic Battlegrounds. They basically took the engine and created it for Star Wars as well. So you had all these different Star Wars factions playing against each other in AoE style, top-down real-time strategy. So that was a lot of fun as well. And that's basically what I played as a teenager.
That almost sounds like Star Trek Armada. I don't know if
Oh yeah,
that was really cool too. Well, it's like Age of Empires, but like starships and Klingons, and if you know anything.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little bit simplistic though. For a real time strategy game. I think each faction only had like 6 different ships you can build. Like the Federation had like only the 6 ships that you know about, basically.
Armada 2 had all sorts of. But yeah,
I didn't play Armada 2. Sorry.
So let's just get into like your gaming, I guess, background. So you're mentioning like Age of Empires 2. You used to play Age of Empires 3. What just in general is like growing up your favorite gaming series growing up, and then we can go all time after that.
Yeah. Let's go further into the past, shall we? I'll just dig up my own grave here and go back into the past. So my very first console was a Nintendo 64. Got it when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and it was for my birthday. And I got this what I thought was an amazing 13-inch TV.
Nice, dude.
And I put it on my nightstand. Yeah, right. Put it on my nightstand in my bedroom, and that was my jam for the longest time. Back then, we lived close to a grocery store, and they actually rented out Nintendo 64 games. So I'd walk there and rent out games and have them for 3 to 5 days and try out a bunch of different things. I actually tried out the StarCraft port for N64, which is kind of weird. What? I had no idea what I was doing, but I played that.
StarCraft
like literally the worst port of StarCraft.
I've heard so many things about this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I played that when I was a kid. And then besides that, of course, you've got the standard Nintendo 64 Mario games. I had Mario Party, Super Mario 64, Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart. Those were all the fun ones that I grew up with.
You must have just hated your friends if you had all those games.
One thing,
yeah.
The one thing people forget now would be the original stream snipe, which is when you played with your friends 4-on-4,
right.
4 free throw all, and just looked at their screen on the TV and just followed them around.
No, pick odd job. Don't pick odd job. No, that's cheating. You can't pick odd job.
No, he was.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say GoldenEye as well.
I remember, odd job. I'm just looking. I'm like, I think I have a Super Scope around here, but that's not a 64. That's Super Nintendo.
No, that's Super Nintendo.
Hunt? Oh my gosh, yeah, that's old.
No, Super Scope.
What the heck is Super? Wait, what is this?
So Nintendo had a bunch of failure kind of things in the 90s. So one was Virtual Boy. They had Virtual Boy at one point, and then Super Scope was this thing that you had for. They were really into additions into their consoles. And so the Super Scope was something that you used for like 1 or 2 games for Super Nintendo. Yeah. It looked like a bazooka, and you just held it on your shoulder, and you looked into it like this. It was.
Hey, you know what? Nintendo has always been innovative.
No,
okay, Rob the Robot. Okay, that was a Nintendo. Like the original NES system had a Player 2 robot, and that's what it looked like from Smash Brothers. Now you've got your Rob the Robot, but that was a Nintendo. They had the gun, or the zapper. Sorry, they had a track and field running pad. Nintendo's always been super innovative.
100%. Yep.
But
Definitely.
you have, I mean, you mentioned you had an Xbox, so are you like, if you had to pick one of the three major ones, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, who you got?
Well, because I still have Xbox, I'm partial to Xbox now, and just the fact that in my grown-up life, since Xbox is a Microsoft product, it already syncs up with everything I've already got. So it's out of convenience and enjoyment. And they've just made it really easy to enjoy those types of games on either platform, on PC or on Xbox. So I started with the N64. I grew up into the GameCube, and then from there I grew into the original white Xbox 360.
Nice.
And then after quite a while, I got upgraded to the Xbox 360 Slim, and then to the Xbox One, which I still have now over here sitting next to me, the original Xbox One, and I still play on that.
Talk to someone here who's owned every single Nintendo console that's ever existed. And although I think for Microsoft, one of the best franchises ever created is the Halo series.
Yes.
And so I have to give props to that. That's like their best franchise they've ever created.
I've got some great memories with Halo, and I grew up with that as well. I never owned the original Xbox, but my friends did. And so we would get together and do LAN parties. And one of my favorite experiences was when we got 8 or 10 of us together, and we went up to one of our friends' family cabin, and we took two separate original Xbox consoles, got them all synced up, got cables running through the hallway from one bedroom out to the living room where the other setup was, and we played all night Halo CE. It was a ton of fun.
All right, kindred spirit here, man. LAN party. These guys like
no, I know, I get it. I've been to them.
I know. I'm just saying. Okay,
I'm not
okay.
that young. I understand LAN parties.
There was a time
my
where
day,
it took like a weekend of planning to get everyone together, synchronize all the systems, and LAN parties. Now, when I did LAN parties, like we would do like Master of Orion or Civilization 4. Civilization 4 was like the big like weekend. There'd be like 5 or 6 of us. We'd each like go in our area. We'd like put a flag up representing who we were. And
Dude, are you kidding? Oh my!
I am not kidding. I am not. I'm sorry. In my friend's defenses, I was the only one that did that. Commonality of Zozo. So I had my own flag.
Oh, okay.
That I did.
Were you part of? Did you also like be part of a group and you named yourself Kiss My Anthea or something like that?
Same idea.
Were you there for those, Nystagmus? You grew up with Zoe, right?
No, I wasn't part because
we did board game.
We are now like closer as we got older, but remember, there's still about a 6-year difference between the two of us.
Okay.
So when I'm like 10 and he was like 16, like, you know, we wouldn't be part of the same kind of in group, and so
I taught you magic when you were
you did.
Like 8 or 9.
Yeah, you did. You introduced me to Magic the Gathering, which is probably what segued me into like getting into Warhammer, especially the Warhammer Fantasy. I still have my 1500 point Dark Elf army.
Here we go.
So
look at that. You owe me now, okay? You owe me.
Game Shop is like they're the ones who are like happy, I guess.
I bet.
I have a question for you, Foybles. Did you play any of the Final Fantasy games?
I never did. I never got onto Final Fantasy. I've never touched a PlayStation controller.
Actually, that makes sense because you said 64, not Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because after Super Nintendo, as all of our Final Fantasy fans know, after Final Fantasy 3 or 6, it switched over. That's right. It switched platforms to PlayStation. Okay.
I am currently playing through the Final Fantasy 7 remake on PlayStation 4.
Nice. I've heard good
things. And then totally did not research it enough because I got it and I found out it's only 1/3 of the damn game. They've completely changed it.
Tons of new content.
In case you guys don't know, the story's kind of the same, but there's like a sub story. to it now. And I don't know, I want to say spoilers for anybody, but it's been out for a few months now. But I think it was cool. They didn't just make like, they could have just ported it and made it graphics better, and they could have just done that and made a lot of money, but they decided to actually build like a whole new game, and all the other characters like that were just minor characters are now like you get to know their backstories and stuff.
Oh wow,
so it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. But
did you yeah, Final Fantasies are great. Did you play the Star Foxes or the
oh yeah, played Star Fox 64. I played some of the GameCube Star Fox games as well. Those were pretty fun.
64 was
yeah, I like those. Those were fun.
64 was actually, I thought, like an amazing system. Like Banjo and Kazooie, Mario Kart, like Donkey Kong Country.
You guys remember Conker's Bad Fur Day?
I didn't see that one.
That was like literally the most non-Nintendo game ever created by Nintendo. So Conker's Bad Fur Day is like a little squirrel. He wakes up after a hangover.
What?
And there's like swearing. It's like
I've
a really vulgar it's a really vulgar game.
Nintendo game?
Yeah, made by Rare back in the day.
Wow.
And so it was like it was just half of it was just shock factor because you would never expect Nintendo to come up with this. Like the very first scene in the game when you're walking is a couple of beetles like find you and they're like, "Hey man, we're just gonna go kick the shit out of that guy." And that's like the exact line that they say, and like, you never expect that.
The insect or the band, the Beatles?
No, actual
beetles.
Beetles.
Like they're literal beetles.
I didn't know the Beatles.
Hey man, let's go beat this guy up.
And then they did a bunch of movie parodies. So they did Saving Private Ryan. They did The Matrix. You do the hallway scene in The Matrix. So like you get like slow motion, like shoot all the bad guys and stuff. And it's all about him just trying to save his girlfriend. Basically, that's like the crux of the story. But totally not seem like it would. If you looked at it, you'd be like, Nintendo didn't make that game.
Oh yeah, they did. There's a dark side to Nintendo.
Leisure Suit Larry for Nintendo.
Right.
So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about what happened on Sunday, just a little bit of a recap, and discussing what strategies that we used. So don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
There's the transition. Look at that. That was beautiful. Welcome back to the Civ Show podcast with special guest Foybles. And Foybles, let's talk about Sunday. What happened on Sunday?
We have to.
It's part of the show. So I mean,
I know it's okay.
You can do what you want. I mean, you have the floor. You can talk about whatever you want. You can talk about like bouncing on a trampoline or like some of your some honeydew melon that you found at the grocery store the other day. Like, hey man, the floor is yours. Go for it.
Well, I mean, I might as well just get it over with, right? I mean, talking about what happened in the game. So, I actually did a bit of tryharding and did some practicing before the Sunday game, but none of that would have prepared me for my start in the tundra.
Oh yeah. And
Nystagmus with his flaming red eyes of war, with his impies and his horses ready to just pummel me to death. Oh. So that's basically what happened. And then somehow he became merciful after that, which is a very quick transition, from being a tyrant, warmonger, over to a peaceful monarch. He gave me my cities back. But by that point, my lead in science had dropped quite significantly. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have a way to recover, but I still had fun. In the moment, I was a bit downhearted, but I knew that it was just for fun anyway. So
it's like
we all go there.
It's probably one of the first lessons you learn about multiplayer is that silence that comes when you get attacked.
Oh no!
Where you're just so upset that you're being destroyed, and you get a little bitter, and like. But the neat thing is, like, you learn to cope with it a little bit. Like, it still always stings a bit.
Yeah.
But it is part of the multiplayer experience, is being able to put pressure to keep fighting on.
I was in Foybles' shoes when I first started with you guys. I used to always play Civ, just like single player, and you guys introduced me. Yeah, you introduced me into this multiplayer universe that you want me to play with you guys on stream. And this is, only long-term fans of the Civ Show remember these episodes, but I was not very good, surprisingly. Still not very good.
Only long-time fans know that? Wow.
Yeah. And so there was a game where I played Germany, and Moy was the Mongols. Now,
long time ago.
Yeah, Moy actually burned all of my cities to the ground except for my capital.
Wow.
And he waited until I was trying to clear out a barbarian encampment, so all of my soldiers were out of position, and then his horses came around and killed them all. And also I did a novice mistake. I didn't build any walls on any of my cities. Any of my cities. Now to save face a little bit, Moy did try to take over a city with walls, with a battering ram and horses.
That was a city. No.
Oops.
I didn't
know. How are those horses running into the gate?
I still remember he was like, "Hey man, why is my battering ram working?" And we're like, you have to have melee units. You can't use
the horse was melee because it is melee attack.
No, its own class.
My logic wasn't quite there yet. No.
I was in that position too. Moy basically burned all of my cities to the ground, and this happened like halfway through the game. So like the other half of the game, I was just like one city.
These two fight a lot. They go to war a lot. Me and Moy will go to war a lot. Me and Nystagmus will exchange, like, normally with Nystagmus, it's more if I've slighted either him or somebody else, he doesn't like that. And I have to, so like, I have a little bit of a temper sometimes. Okay, I get a little grumpy pants sometimes. I will threaten sometimes. I will say, if you take that goody hat, we will go to war. And I mean it. I mean it 60% of the time. Like, I'll go to war over small
60% of the time.
Every time.
However, for me though, I have some predictability. Like, so for instance, if I do threaten you and you are cowed by it and you agree, like, usually I'll then agree to terms, some kind of exchange, and then for me, okay, we're friends this game. Like, that's like my default setting is if you, and then usually afterwards I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I showed it. I didn't. I lost my temper in the heat of the moment."
Eat a Snickers.
But like, this is the cool thing about multiplayer, is you have to grow as a player. Like I was an angrier player in the past, I think, and I you calm down over time, and then you remember past treachery.
Oh yeah.
So I think like when you entered this game, I was worried. I was like, oh no, we have another Mike, another Michael here, because your because your science was like really high, and I was like, oh no, this guy knows how to play. We're in trouble. And then Nystagmus attacked you, and I'm just glad it wasn't me. That was the best part of that whole thing. Was that it wasn't me.
I'm sure you know what, honestly, when I was like massing my army on both those borders, I felt like the tension rising as the game was going on, especially when I was talking to Zoe. He was like, I gotta deal with this army. There's an army.
There's a funny story behind me and Zoe later. I'll get to that.
I was so, that was my first time playing Chimer ever, and I did not play a good game at all. Like, I tried the religious game and it didn't matter, and then Moy came and basically slapped me in the face with a big rubber sausage. I don't know. It was
with a proper religious strategy is what I slapped you in the face with.
Well, you had all week training with Vector Cat how to use Poland.
I didn't play them once. That was legitimately the first time I've ever played Poland as well.
Yeah, of course.
You should.
Can I
say
something as well?
Yeah.
So, Moy, you went to Vector Cat for some advice, right? Yeah. Or he reached out to you. Either way, you got some advice.
I did. Okay, yes, I did. Yes.
I also got some advice before the game, but I didn't want to say anything.
Oh!
It was from.
F you.
It was from Vector Cat as well?
No, it wasn't. It was from a member of our community who's also one of the CPL admins, I believe, on the CPL Discord server.
Is it under
Dash Green?
Oh, Dash Green. Okay.
No, Dash Green.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow.
He's he's one of the admins, I believe, of CPL.
Yeah.
And he's been a part of our community for quite a while now, and we've done lots of community multiplayer nights with him, and I've learned a lot from him. I basically call him sensei and coach, and he's taught me a lot about multiplayer. So I went to him saying, "Hey, what do you think about the Dutch?" And he actually gave me some statistics from the CPL Discord server, because they keep statistics there, it shows like the win-loss ratios and how often they're chosen in games and how often they win, how often they lose. And he said they were second to last in their rankings.
Wow.
Although they did have a lot of instances, a lot of matches with them in there, they just never. But that's also with the better balanced game mod on that CPL uses, so that makes some changes to it. And it also balances out the other players, which would affect their outcome. So I did get some advice. I secretly messaged him on Discord, and we talked a little bit and talked out strategy and figured out what I should focus on. So it was working for a little bit. My spawn didn't help because it would have been better if I was coastal rather than tundra in the middle of the continent. So if it had been a coastal spawn, I think
that's historically accurate for the Dutch, right? Like, they're a tundra.
Oh, you had me going for a second. Wait a minute.
Yep, perfectly accurate.
All you have to do is choose Canada, and you're gonna spawn near rainforest. We all know this. This is facts. This is what happened.
So
was Canada the one at the bottom of that list for?
Yeah, who was last place? Do you know?
No, actually, I'd have to go back and take a look at the screenshot. It's in Discord here, but they were second to last. It was probably, oh gosh, I don't know. I'll have to go look. But
Georgia?
Is it
Georgia?
It's got to be Georgia.
Actually,
Georgia's
pretty strong in BBG. They've made some pretty big buffs for Georgia in BBG. Yeah.
I never see them though. I see a lot of India. I see a lot of Chimer, ironically.
Yeah, they're actually pretty well buffed too. There goes Ozo.
Yeah, well, don't worry, buddy. He'll come back. Don't worry about it. I want to talk about though a funny little back and forth I had with Zoe during Sunday that you guys weren't aware of. This was when we took a break and we all went to the bathroom. I came back. I was the first one back. I sat here, and then Zoe came back. And it was just me and him, and we were both noting like, oh shit, Foybles is running away with this game. And Nystagmus has a massive army. So we got to do something. Like, there's no way we can just sit back and do nothing. So you guys still weren't back. We're trying to figure out how to do it. I'm like, okay, this is exactly when he got the World Congress. But when he builds a district, he gets a culture bomb. And so I made a deal with him saying, if you don't culture bomb any of my tiles, you can send missionaries to the north and I will kill them so you get relics.
Whoa. You wanted an alliance, and that was my counter offer, was I will agree as long as you let me send missionaries for you to kill them.
So
interesting.
This is where it ties in now to Vector Cat, okay? So we were talking about how like the whole relics thing. I'm like, maybe I'll go. I told him maybe I'll go reliquaries, and like I'll kind of like battle Zoe with my apostles who will die, and then he'll get his relics, and we kind of have both relics, but then I have the triple tourism. And then I kind of said, oh, what if I just give it to reliquaries to him anyway? That would give him a better deal. But then I can still do something with it, because Poland gets bonuses with relics. They get like extra food, extra production, extra gold. And so I kind of went through all these things, and he's like, "No, don't do it. That's too risky." And I'm like, "Nah, hold on." So that was actually that alliance part of my plan the whole time. So I'm really glad.
So,
well done.
So what I'm waiting for now is I want Moy to release like a 1980s montage of Vector Cat training him for the game.
It all won't take too long. You're gonna need a montage.
Yeah.
Even Vector Cat's
like,
a montage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just like you're like sweating, you're like drinking water and like playing the game and stuff.
Insert Pokemon intro music here.
Yeah.
So that was part of my strategy the whole time, was to make you get relics, because like somehow make an alliance deal and make you get relics, and that was the perfect moment. So as soon as we made that deal internally, I was laughing really hard. I obviously couldn't show that.
I had 3 cities that whole game. I got stuck, and that was me being dumb. I went after that dumb wonder. I thought it would be great. Didn't do anything for me. I got 1 flood. Okay, I got the Great Bath. I got 1 flood. I got 1. Well, I was like, I was thinking, okay, somebody else probably wants this, so I'm gonna get it, and it'll be good because I will get some floods, and I'll have lots of faith, and I'm gonna go Void Singers, and yeah, this is perfect. No, it was a stupid move, and obviously the computer, you build Great Baths. There's 1 river, so the city over here will get all of the floods. And the one that you build in will get none of the floods. And literally the whole game, this city kept flooding. The lower city on the same river, but it was lower city. It kept getting the floods, and the capital that had it had none. So I got stuck. And not only that, like because I delayed, there was like 2 places I could build cities on the mainland. So it was a bad move. I deserved that loss. And then Moy, of course, built cities everywhere.
Yeah.
It was.
Then
he came
over a city state.
He just he made it quite clear near the end of that game that he was about to wipe my religion from the map. He made that quite clear. I had more religion than him per turn, but it didn't matter. He had way more cities. He had way more of everything else, and he was Void Singer. Oh man, that was such.
That makes it tough.
That was a terrible game. Oh, I hate the ones I hate the most are the ones that Moy wins. And
really, that's weird because those are the ones I like the best.
Oh, that's weird. That's really weird.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, would you recommend the Dutch to anybody? Did you have fun with the Dutch?
I think the Dutch are very situationally fun. Their best ability is the river adjacency, right? You get +2 adjacency for campuses, theater squares, and industrial zones on rivers. So you basically have the same adjacency as a commercial hub, but for 3 additional districts, right? Mm-hmm. So there can be some really good districting happening there. And if that's the only thing you focus on, if you're inland and you can't be coastal, you can't get your unique ship, you can still do your trade routes and get some culture that way. But I actually look at the Dutch as a good space race civ because of their industrial zone adjacencies and their campus adjacencies on rivers. Plus, they build dams faster, so if they're on floodplains, they can protect themselves quicker. They can protect themselves from lowland coastal tiles from flooding because they can build the flood barriers faster. So they can actually be a really good space race victory civ. But like I said, it's very situational.
We almost never get to space race.
No, but you were way ahead of science. Like how many campuses or did you end up building? Like how did you get so far ahead?
I only had what was it, 3 campuses, but I had Pingala in the city with the best campus, which was a +5. It was on the government plaza on a river next to a mountain, and then I had another one in my northwestern city closer to your borders, near the city state Vilnius. and they had a +5 campus as well, and then I had a +3 or 4 over on my floodplain city. So I only really had 3 main campuses that whole time, but I just took advantage of cards, took advantage of Pingala, district adjacency, so on the river, next to other districts, next to mountains, as best as I could, and that's what got me to where I was with science.
Kind of jealous.
It was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you were.
if I had double the
humbling
number
us.
of cities, I would have been like over 300 science by turn 75.
And that map was tough. Like I do like
it.
Terra.
I loved it.
I do
Terra
like
was
Terra.
fun. Yeah.
But like with having the Zulu, on Terra, that is not good. Like if Nystagmus wanted to, he probably could have inflicted a lot more damage on us.
And I actually noticed Nystagmus, you attacked before your core and army abilities really kicked in, because that's when they really shine the best, I think. The Zulu is when they can get those early core and army. But, I mean, you already had strong units. They were promoted. You had different unit types. You had impies, you had crossbows, you had catapults, you had cavalry. So you had a good mix of units. And I saw them creeping up on the border. I'm like, oh, crap, it's happening.
I figured, like, at that point, I had no choice. I was still, like, but I did it in such a way where I was about 10 turns away from core. And so I was like, oh, if he counterattacks, and by the time the counterattack occurs, I'll be able to build core, and that will be like a big surprise where I just build cores and then just push forward again.
Oh, yeah.
And Moy realized that even his special unit was would just basically die to try to attack the MP.
That was scary, man. That was scary.
he attacked one of them, and it like -2 and like -50 his
it's like
unit.
-80, dude. Like it was deadly as hell. Are you kidding me? Holy
the
crap.
MP is a really strong anti-cav unit. It's a much better pikeman than a standard pikeman, but it's not the best in the game. I'd probably say the best anti-cav is the Corleone from Sweden,
right? Yeah, because you get it way later too. Right? You get it in like the modern or whatever Renaissance.
Well, it's the replacement for pike and shot, and so it's Renaissance era with gunpowder. I'd say they're better than the MP, but the MP is better than Greece's anti-cavalry unit too. There's only a couple of them
Greece's
in the game.
Anti-cav though.
I
like them.
You get Greece's with bronze
spearmen.
working.
So spearmen, pikemen, pike and shot.
That one is the MP you get with formations or whatever it is, the pikemen, right?
Now, the reason why I would argue that the Sweden and Zulu's anti-cavalry unit's better is that like when Greek gets it, like people aren't really focusing as much on cavalry at that point because you only get like the horsemen, whereas like the MP and the Swedish special unit, it's like when people are getting knights and cavalry and all that, and like those kind of units, and those are really powerful units. Like knights are super powerful.
Greece's spearman becomes very irrelevant very quickly.
Well, I build the elephant.
You rode an elephant.
You have one, and it died so fast by the end of the game.
So quickly.
Oh my god.
Oh, Chimer. Oh god.
They're not a good.
I hope I hope I never have to use them again. Oh man.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of ranking charts, and he's very low on those lists.
Yes. Potato McWhiskey does have a video of like how to actually play Chimer, and I'm interested to see that, watch it, and like see if I can apply it on the Civ Show one day.
By the way,
I haven't seen it, but I would assume that it deals with like tall tactics, building your cities tall, high population.
I saw him on YouTube today. He was streaming.
Yeah, he streams.
Potato McWhiskey. Oh yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know he streamed on YouTube. I just saw he made videos, to be honest.
I think he's kind of stepped away from Twitch a bit, from what I understand, and he's focused more on YouTube. So for me, it makes sense if he's streaming on YouTube too, because that's where a majority of his fan base is.
Yeah, good for him though. He's been blowing up. Like he's over 100,000 now. He has like the plaque, the YouTube plaque. That's like my lifetime achievement goal to try to get one of those.
I saw that.
Like, yeah,
I saw his tweet. Yeah,
that was so cool. And I'm like, man, that's a
the
Civ
stream
guy right there.
The stream I saw had like 1,500 people watching or something like that.
Yeah,
so
man.
Yeah, that's great.
That's gonna be us one day.
That's something that I wanted to comment on as well, is just how much the Civ community has grown. And I think the developers wanted this to happen, and I think that's what their plan was by releasing all this new content.
Oh, yeah.
We're over halfway through the new Frontier Pass now, and to me, I look at Firaxis as like the perfect example of a good developer. They continue to provide content to their fans. They listen to them. They take in their advice. They take in their ideas. They've even gone so far as to incorporate people that have created mods for the game and put them into the game. The example of that being the pins. The pins was originally a mod. It was never a base feature of the game.
Really?
And somebody had a really popular pins mod that worked very well. And Firaxis worked with them to incorporate it into the base game, and that just became part of the game at that point. So,
it's something they got better at over time. I think when you look at like when the Aztec pack came out, I don't know if they were doing as good a job back then because they were getting a lot of backlash for, well, you know, I'm paying for this piece, these like every now and then I have to pay $10. I think with the Grand Columbia or what the Frontier Pass, they went a very different direction. It was very engaging. They're getting feedback. They're in motion. They're so I think that was the turning point. Like I hear what you're saying because and like they're great developers and I think they do engage with the community. But it was especially with the release of the Frontier Pack they really wanted to know, what are you saying? What do you think? And then they started actually incorporating and listening and taking ideas.
They've learned well
and putting them in there. Yeah,
and
that's,
like I said,
really
I think
hard.
I said this in an earlier podcast. I'm like, you have these examples of like they're a good example of how to do downloadable content, right? Because downloadable content is like the thing now, whereas Call of Duty is like how not to do that. Right. I will hold that opinion forever because their way of downloaded content is like you can't play the game unless you buy all these like, weird little things. It becomes very annoying, and so
it shouldn't be pay to win, right? No. Is the key, and they've done a very good job, and they mix in free content with if you're the hardcore fan. Civ is one of those. I consider it an investment. It's a game that I keep going back to. I have other games that I don't play that often. Civ is a game I keep going back to, and whenever they release something new, I'm going to get it. And that's because they're very engaging, and it's great because all of this is really just building up to Civ 7. That of course when that comes out, I'm going to get it right away. I'll be like, and then I will turn my back, and Civ 6 will become Civ 5. Okay.
Which becomes Civ 4. Which becomes Civ
3. Well, I still have a place in my heart for Civ 4. I don't have a place in my heart for Civ 5. I thought it was revolutionary. I thought it was great, but then I got so sick of every game was World Congress. They should have just called it Civ 5 World Congress, and then that would have been it. But Civ 6 isn't. I don't get that feel with Civ 6.
Let's take a quick break before we get into this last segment where we're going to be talking about, speaking of the New Frontier Pass, the new October update, things that are involved in there, the pirates, the changes, and everything that you need to know about this October update. So don't go anywhere because we will be right back. Oh, you subbed. Oh, thank you, Post. Okay, bye. No, we'll be back. We'll be back.
Right when you take a break.
Right as we leave. Smiling?
Foybles face. Or muted.
Muted.
Oops.
Muted.
No, not muted.
Oh.
Not muted. So
Wow.
Oh boy.
let's talk about the free October update. There's a little bit to talk about. Kind of a quick summary: Pirates, spy mission changes, potential Grand Columbia nerfs, World Congress scaling, and the Wonder increase for the computers. So I want to go into this because I feel like this might be the longest topic of Grand Columbia nerfs. What do you think they're going to do in order for them to bring them down to reality?
So I could comment about how the Better Balanced Game mod did this with CPL.
Okay.
So they of course, what they do in their testing is they test any new updates, any new civs, anything before they make any changes, right? They want to see how everything works. They'll let them play them as they are in matches, and they'll get feedback from the players. The big thing they changed in BBG with Grand Columbia is instead of having that extra movement, they turned it into +1 sight instead. And so the movement is what really makes Grand Columbia very OP, right?
Agreed.
That extra movement. So with that in mind, if they made a big change like that, if it's anything like what BBG did with CPL, then that I could see that happening. That's probably the biggest complaint that people would have against Grand Columbia. The other thing is the recruitment of the Comandantes Generales and Great Generals. In BBG, they made it so they were like the Congo, where they couldn't recruit normal generals. They could only have their era generals come out, their special generals. So that you couldn't have two different types of generals in a battle. So that could be another thing that I think might happen.
They stack, right?
Yeah, they do stack.
They do, because one's a unique general and the other one's a separate great person general.
I do know that I was in Bose's stream or CGM stream the other day, and Carl was in there, and I think it was Bose's stream. And when they were talking about the possible nerfs that could come to Grand Columbia, that came up of those shouldn't stack. Carl did say that was intentional, and the intention of these unique unit stacking is something that is not going to change. Basically, is what he said. It's like that is clear. That was clearly the purpose of having the unique great general, was so that they would stack. So I don't think they're going to take that away. The movement I can see them taking away. Another thing that was discussed about is maybe they only get the +1 movement in Golden Ages instead.
I'd rather see them do something along the lines of reduce the movement penalty. But so on an open plane, they don't get any sort of bonus, but like when moving through forest or hill or something like that, it halves it or something along those lines, so that because I think the idea is supposed to be Grand Columbia is located in South America. South America is a very diverse terrain between forests and rainforests and hills and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. That would be the intention. But then that would also mean that maybe they don't get anything for naval. So it'd be make it easier for them to move over difficult terrain, but then they don't get the bonus on, say,
one other way is maybe limit the +1 movement to non-military units.
That was something else too. Maybe if they had that your worker or your builder, and
well, see, they've already got that for India. India's got Gandhi's India has that, and so. Or maybe that's a BBG thing as well.
I think that's a BBG
the extra
thing.
movement on civilian units.
No, I think that's a BBG thing. I don't
recall
that.
I'm still acclimating back to normal Civ. I've only been off of BBG for a couple weeks now.
No worries.
But that is something they did. If it is a BBG thing, that's something they did with Gandhi's India, is they made civilian units have extra movement. So them with a Golden Age, Gandhi with a Golden Age with Monumentality is crazy. They can expand very quickly.
It's like 6 movement for a settler, right?
Right. Yeah. Wow. But like at the same time, I think that's what makes them such a fascinating Civ. Just that simple +1. I like what Moix commented about, remove anything, and you'll have a more fair Civ.
One thing of anything.
One thing. Anything. Maybe make the Lunaro maybe a little weaker. Might be because those Lunaros are fantastic, assuming that you're not playing on random shuffle and can actually achieve them. But they're a fantastic unit, and they're so they're perfect for when you get them, and I think they're so good they can survive like 2 eras worth of being around and still be
The
effective.
Lanero, yeah. So I remember Nystagmus was talking that he was killing tanks with them. During
Yeah,
one of his
I was.
games. Yeah.
When
That's
with you
crazy.
when you pair them with great generals and their commandante generals, you can clearly kill tanks and stuff. Yeah.
Because they get
nuts.
it's +3 for
Plus
each
4.
adjacent, +4 for each
Yeah.
adjacent Lunaro specifically, though, right? It's not like
Why not?
Brawl where it's all units.
No,
They-
Lanero.
Why not
they're
just
Lanero, yeah.
specific.
Why not just get rid of the whole promoting the unit doesn't like
Yes.
end its turn thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
that might work too. I'd almost rather them reduce the movement than take that away. I really like that.
What?
Yeah, I really like that.
Is it
I
because
really
like
like
that's the most unique
people-
part about it? Kind of
I-
deal? Oh no, take that
yeah,
away. That's broken as heck.
it's really unique. I really like. I like when there's something like that. There's like, oh wow, like nobody. Like at least with the +1 move. If I have logistics, I kind of have that. I have the +1 movement in my own territory.
Oh,
But
you're
yeah,
breaking my
that one,
heart,
I don't
man.
know.
No.
I don't know. I think that's a really fascinating ability. Or maybe instead of penalizing them instead of debuffing them by taking away movement or something like that, maybe they could do something like there's a penalty to like experience. Like maybe they
That
take
would be bad. Not bad.
more,
Yeah.
25% more experience or something like that to train. So that's another
They
direction.
can also
something a way
change.
to add a penalty.
They can also make the Lanero, because the other thing that makes the Lanero like crazy is that Laneros are like cheap.
They're super cheap.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
like,
1 gold versus
they're-
4 too, right? Yeah, the maintenance.
Yeah,
as well.
like
yeah.
so that's the other thing. Like the other reason why I was able to kill tanks is because I just like they're like one of the units that you can spam. Like you just spam Laneros and like if as long as you have enough of them that gives them the adjacency bonus with their generals just kind of following them along, they're like really hard to kill. And they can like take on units that are supposed to be their hard counter, which is like messed up, right? Like even when I was Grand Columbia, the one game I won with Grand Columbia, like I was still like Moy was only building pike and shots, and I was still like he wasn't pushing me back. Like he was holding me to a stalemate, but he shouldn't be. Like he's specifically building the unit that's supposed to hard counter my unit, and I'm still like, yeah, I can still move forward.
Yeah, that was
slower, but I'm still
crazy.
moving forward.
That was so. Those are the possible things they can do to Grand Columbia. So let's move to the Pirates scenario. New Pirates scenario. I know a lot of people don't play scenarios. Foibles, does this one look interesting to you? As a Sea of Thieves player.
So yes, I have been playing Sea of Thieves lately. I have been enjoying the pirating life for me. I actually have not played a single scenario in Civ 6.
Really? That's not an uncommon phrase, though. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a last resort. Like if you absolutely have nothing else to do, if you've played every single Civ and you don't have anybody to play multiplayer with, you just go play scenario for an hour.
It's the lonely way to go play Civilization.
Now, did they say it was a scenario, or did they say it was a multiplayer game mode like Red Death, where you could actually get lobby together?
It is a scenario, but there are multiplayer scenarios. Even all the other ones existing.
Oh,
Can be
that's true.
multiplayer,
That's true.
right? The Black Plague is multiplayer. The Vikings ones is multiplayer. Like majority of them. The only one that isn't off the top of my head is the Conquest of Alexander, because that's very specific. You should try that one. That one's really fun.
Okay, because I hate Alex, so that'd be great.
What?
I just hate playing Alex. I always have a rough time with him.
You just take over cities with wonders and you just win. What do you mean? That's all you
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Their glory kind of fades off. They do have at least one ability that scales. It's the science, right?
It's like
with
Gaul's
military
culture,
kills.
but with science. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, that's okay. I've just always had a hard time with him. It's probably just me, and it's probably just not my play style. Very early domination run, pushing people around from the start. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just never had a good time with him.
Okay. They're pretty good. I'm looking forward to these pirates personally. Like I think man, like Zoe is gonna have a blast with this 100%. He's gonna
I already
know what you're gonna do. I already know what you're gonna do. You're gonna dress the part. You're gonna wear like these like gold pearls around. You're gonna come in with an eye patch. Yeah, ready.
I run the third realm. I'm here today. That's why I dress like a cobbler as ES Champ would call
What's
it.
the overall odds that he dresses up like Captain Jack Sparrow and just shows up? And
Oh yes,
go,
you know,
100%.
This is my alter ego here, Mr. Creek. So I run a Dungeons and Dragons business, and we have one of our services. We've done bachelor parties in the past where we do a pirate scenario. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So what we do is we'll get like 16 people, and we split them up into two. It's the bride and it's the groom and the best man, and one of them will be privateers, and the other one will be pirates, and they're on two opposite crews.
Oh my god!
And we send them through this race, through these various scenarios, and as they go, each one of them, when they start, they each get a single piece of pirate gear, right? So they'll get like a sword or a cutlass, a gun. A pistol. They'll get a pirate hat. One of them will have a beard. One of them will have a parrot. And all of them do something special for their character. And at the very end, all of them have to give all of their equipment to either the best man or the captain, the groom. Mm-hmm. And those two end up having like a fight for the ship. And it is super fun. So I have the full pirate get-ups
nice.
from these scenarios. And of course, I have no shame. I dress like this in public, people. This is I wear like red pants. Like I go all out for this. And for when this comes out, I want us to do a Civ show for it. But I think also Foybles, I think it'd be cool to do like a crossover thing, and maybe we'll do some pirates, do some Sea of Thieves as well.
You know what's funny is I played a little bit last night, and I actually titled the stream "Practicing for Civ 6 Pirates." So
that's awesome.
Nice. Nystagmus, are you looking forward to the pirates? Are you gonna dress up too?
No. I'm not as into costumes as Zoe is. I'd have to find a pirate costume, number one. I don't have any of that stuff. Yeah. If we ever were to play like Star Wars Battlefront, I can certainly dress up as a Star Wars character because I have that with a lightsaber and everything.
I'll just dye my hair purple. I'll be the evilest character.
Which is, for me, it's the Anakin. I have Anakin costume. I just need the scar. I just need the scar on my eye, and that's it.
And the yellow eyes.
So
I actually tried to look for contacts that would make my eyes yellow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're available now. You can get them easily, without any prescription too.
That's what I meant. Yeah, it's just the iris. So that
you can get those now for sure. So other things that they mentioned, they changed the recruit partisans spy mission. Now I think in one of the games what we had in the Civ show, somebody was getting barbarians in their neighborhood all the time. Who was it? No one?
I don't know. I do like to use spies, and I do like using partisans.
So
maybe it was me then.
I recently played a game when I was practicing like the scenario for the Civ challenge. Mm-hmm. I played it on a lower difficulty for the first time just to see what would happen. I played it on Prince, and
we're being raided.
So,
yeah, Peppermint Butler.
Hey, Peppermint Butler and community. Thank you for the raid of 13. How you all doing? Sorry to interrupt you, Nystagmus. Hopefully you can remember where you were.
Okay, I actually was trying to win a religious. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying hello to everybody. Keep going. I'm trying not to
you're doing this to the mic.
No. I'm saying hello.
Okay, so the barbarians actually like defeated a lot of the civs on their own. Like a bunch of cities were raised by the time I got there.
Wow.
To like spread my religion. I'm spreading my religion, and I'm seeing like barbarian musketmen like taking on their army, and like just like tons of them. So I guess like on the lower difficulties, that whole scout that gets like the exclamation mark above its head, and it runs back to its encampment. I guess the computer doesn't stop them, because there were a lot of like barbarian units when I was like moving into their area to take it over. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was kind of, maybe that's another way of making the game easier in the lower difficulties.
I did notice that the barb activity has increased since this most recent update, in my opinion. Also, I learned a few things recently. When they do get that exclamation point above their head, when they're alerted of your city, they don't have to run back. The camp automatically starts generating units at that moment.
Really?
And so they don't have to make it back to the camp. If you kill that scout, they're still going to be spawning units to head into your city. I do like
that sucks. That's going to alter the whole 3 laws of scouting.
Oh yeah,
terrible.
Yeah. Well, that just means basically if a scout spots your city, you got to just start building military units.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. You got to prepare for it.
But yeah, they changed the recruit partisans now. Instead of recruiting barbarians all the time, it recruits anti-cavalry, the most like researched anti-cavalry unit, and it destroys the neighborhood so you can't spam the mission anymore. So thank goodness for that. That's a good change. I agree. That's a good change. Another thing they changed is they scaled World Congress based off of the game speed. So basically, all that really is, people just have less diplomatic points when there is a World Congress. My camera froze. I'm still here. Don't worry.
Yeah, your camera's frozen.
My camera froze.
That's a beautiful phase.
Yeah, so like was that needed? Was it a big deal? I didn't find it a big deal, but I didn't play a lot of single player games, so.
I never spammed, and I was never a victim of spam on that. Although the AI did like to use that mission a lot, and that's why I just stopped building neighborhoods and I focused on finding housing in other places. I would get housing from the dams rather than a neighborhood or stuff like that. But I guess at this point, with that update when it comes out, that shouldn't be as big of a problem anymore.
Okay, my camera's like completely frozen, so I'm gonna have to just live with that. You know what? I'm just gonna turn it off. Like, you don't want to see that. I'm gonna be a blank face for you guys. The last thing they changed is the wonder increase for the CPUs to the pyramids and the oracle. So now, as a single player streamer, do you think you'll ever get to see the oracle ever again?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. I'll have to test it once the update happens. So, I noticed that there are certain wonders, and I think we all know which ones get taken very quickly. We've got Great Bath, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu. I've noticed lately that pyramids and Oracle, they don't get taken. I could end up building Oracle in the Renaissance era after like 7 turns on standard speed and get it. Like they just don't put any priority on it. So hopefully this balances it out a little bit. My hope is that it also takes some attention off of those wonders that do go faster, and we might have a better chance of getting them, especially Machu Picchu in certain situations.
I built in a single player game. I built the pyramids like in the industrial era. Classic period of timing. By the way, classic.
Yes.
And it's only because I never had a city near a desert, and then I built a city near a desert, and then I realized that the pyramids were like still available to build.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, so I guess I'll just build the pyramids, right? But standard pyramid timing, going up in the industrial era, classic.
Another one I noticed that they don't go for hardly ever is Petra. And I don't feel like I have to ever rush for Petra. Like I got it pretty late in my Egypt game I've got going on right now, and there's just not a lot of attention on it.
Can I have just a very quick discussion before we end? Just like one question: is Machu Picchu really an S tier civ, or no, sorry, S tier wonder?
Well, I guess that was up from the Twitter thing, right? Like,
news to me.
Do you? I'm not going to tell you my opinion on it, but do you think it's an
I think
S-tier
you should save
wonder?
that question when you have Van Bradley, because it was his video that you watched, right? And it was his
But I want to know
his
your
rankings.
opinion on it.
to be honest, as someone who, and I know Zoe kind of like maybe aligns with this, I really like making sure I have a good income. I like Machu Picchu as a wonder. If I can get it, I usually try to get it because it gives you that adjacency bonus. And so I'm one who likes to build the number. I'm the one who says, like, if I don't have 8 trade routes by like turn, I think it's like by turn 100, I think I suck. And so I love trade routes. I want lots of trade routes, and I'd have my whole thing with them where I do mostly domestic, and then I start switching them over to international as time goes on. And so now no one take that as gospel, because I'm not good at the game of civilization, but it's just what I like to do. And so I personally like Machu Picchu as a wonder. But
all right, I just don't think it's an S tier thing. So yeah, Van Bradley released. If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. A wonder civilization tier list. I know how much you love tier lists, though. You talked about it earlier this podcast.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'll have a good discussion with him next week about
we
that.
will. Yeah, and
We
that I
will.
hate peers. I think they're dumb. I don't think they're. I'm like, why? Like, it's so arbitrary most of the time. You can't speak to any specific situation. But what do I know?
So, like Foibles, you mentioned, Van
and
Bradley is going to. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry for Scotty. When I say turn 100, I mean on online speed.
Yeah,
So not standard speed.
So
Yeah,
turn
just so you know. Yeah,
200 on
that changes a lot of
standard
things.
speed.
Like people, when I say that, people
that
are like,
does
"What
change
the
a
heck are
lot.
you talking? Yeah, what the heck are you talking about? Turn 100? Like, yeah, I mean on online speed. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of Van Bradley, he was going to be featured on this Sunday's episode of the Civ Show, where we will be doing. Just Angus, if you want to reveal real quick what we're doing, because it is technically your week.
Let's call it the roll of the dice. So everything is going to be random civs, random map, random game modes that we're going to be trying as well. And so everything's just random.
It's going to be a lot of fun, but until then, Foibles, let us know where we can find you. Rolling out the red carpet for you, as the guy from Hot Ones, Sean Evans, says. Please tell the world what you have going on.
All right. Yeah, of course, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/foibles. On Twitter, I believe it's foibles_Twitch. And I stream 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday nights at 8 p.m. Arizona time, which is Pacific time right now. But come November 1st, I think that's going to change. But Arizona, we're ahead of the times. We don't believe in daylight savings time anymore. So we like to keep the clocks where they are.
We may join you in BC. We're thinking about it.
Oh, nice.
God, I'd love that. I hate daylight savings.
Yeah.
I heard we might get rid of it too, actually, in Ontario. So we're all crossing our fingers and hoping. Thank you, Foibles.
This is the time to do it. We're all inside. Time has lost all meaning. So
That's true.
This is the time to do it.
There you go.
Thank you, Foibles, for joining us on the Civ Show podcast and on the Civ Show last week. Really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, well,
and your...
a very welcome guest. I hope we'll
Thanks
have you
for having
again.
me.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
And it only makes me look forward to the Civ Give even more with you, which is going to be happening on December 20th. Mark your calendar, folks. December 20th.
Can't
Civ
wait.
Give.
It'll be a lot of fun.
All right. And until then, we'll see you guys on Sunday for the shuffle game with Van Bradley. And see you then.
Hey, Moy, are we rating someone?
Yeah, we want to rate Zam.
Sure.
All right, let's
I
rate.
remember Zam.
Zam has a lot of. We have a lot of love for Zam. He doesn't really play Civilization anymore.
How do I
However,
learn?
he was an OG part of the Civ Show. The idea of the Civ Show. He was an OG part of it. So we're gonna go raid him. So give him some love over at Zam's chat. Once I can type it into our chat. There we go. All right, guys. This is the goodbye. Okay.
Good night.
Thanks for having me. Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.